Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Salty Fundraiser. And I am Patricia Berry, and this is my brief love letters to badass leader women that I love. And I have with me here today Jen Eastridge from a whole host of things, but locally it's Unicorn Feed and Supply and Stone and Spoon here in Southeast Michigan in Ypsilanti. But also, you know, she has diversified into creating her own line of, I don't want to say cartoon characters, would you say?
No, but it's a cast of illustrated characters. Yes, it's a family of illustrated characters.
Yeah. So Jen, I have known for 10 years when I first came to Michigan, and she is one of the badass women that I really gravitate towards. And when I thought about setting up my business, of course, I looked to Jen as an inspiration and an activator, which is so much the work that you do, both in my life and so many other people's lives. So if I would write my love letter to you, I think what would be included in that love letter is having coffee with you in the mornings, which we've done throughout the 10 years that we've known each other, but certainly really heavily in the pandemic. And what we did, what we often do in those conversations is just have these really free-willing conversations about what does it mean to be a visionary business owner? What does it mean to be a business owner that has values?
Yep.
And really is digging into sometimes really hard conversations, hard decisions, that I just, you know, particularly coming out of the pandemic, hold those conversations so precious. Like I almost feel like it was my MBA, you know, that how did I...
Same. Yeah, absolutely. Right.
That collaborative energy that you bring to so many things, heart-centered and just so generous, you know. And so anyway, we're in the garden because that's another thing about Jen is she introduced me to gardening and to ecosystem thinking. And we have just continued to collaborate in that space as well. So anyway, this is my love letter. There's so many other things that are part of the love letter. But one of the things I wanted to offer to you, to invite you, is to talk about answering a question for Women's Day, Women's Month, Women's Year. You know, so I think we talked about originally, what do you feel salty about, you know, being a woman and I don't know if you, as you thought about that question, if you had like a different viewpoint of that question.
You know, it's funny because I thought about that because it's really kind of the other end of the spectrum from where I usually try to take things. Like I try to take things from the sweet side. You know, versus the salty side. And I feel like the salty side brings the humor and also helps us kind of address some of those difficult questions because the salty side is real. It's there for all of us. But I'm always like Pollyanna optimist, you know, but at the same time, being a businesswoman and an entrepreneur and just a business owner in general, but I think specifically a woman owning businesses, you know, we're not necessarily trained socially how to address difficult decisions and to own your opinion. And so I feel that I'm salty about, and I will kind of come back to that, I'm salty about all of the patriarchal scenarios that I came up through in my schooling and societally and through my career that led me to believe that for whatever reason that my opinion is not as informed. You know, for what, you know, and because I learn and I think differently. And I am a creative brain. I am very much a big idea person. And, you know, I get that from my dad, ironically. You know, I get that from the patriarch of my household, even though the family was very matriarchal. True statement. Like, actually. But that was truly something that when I think through the layers of my learning, I was certainly trained to believe that my opinion didn't have the value or the informed opinion that other people did. And so I wish that I had started asking questions sooner and standing my ground with it, and understanding that asking questions didn't mean that I was stupid. I was actually asking questions is actually where you realize you need information, and that is a smart place to be. That is a type of intelligence that I want women to own, is that asking for information and asking questions and asking for help. We've talked about that. Help, but also in a way that you are giving that, I don't want to say power, because power is a strange word.
I would say generosity.
Yeah.
In my exchanges with you asking questions, whether it's of me or whether it's of other people that I watch, you in rooms and stuff, because we're often in similar rooms. It's a collaborative generosity that lets somebody else shine too.
Right.
That it's almost like watching you. I almost see you as like this orchestra conductor sometimes, that you're through your questioning, you're kind of pulling together like the entire music, right? Like pulling it all together.
That's an amazing way to say that.
But I do think that it's deep generosity.
Thank you.
And that it often gets mentored out of us as women, because we're so afraid of like, I'm going to look like I don't know what I'm doing. And
fearing looking dumb is something that we all fear. And I think that's also part of the societal training, that we're supposed to be competitive with each other, especially, like that crabs in a bucket, and instead of standing on each other, let's stand next to each other, and really it's been a phenomenal opportunity. I call myself a social curator, but
it's very true.
Well, thank you.
I would say, as somebody who is part of that curation.
It's one of my superpowers. But that is one of my joys, is introducing women to each other, where we learn about each other and then we connect and we grow richer, and in all ways. Because we also can make money. We're allowed to make money.
And that's a coffee conversation that Jen and I often have. Women are allowed to make boatloads of money. I'm looking into the camera as I say this. You can make all the money that you need.
Yes.
It's okay to ask for money.
Yes. Because really, to be able to sustain any work that we want to do, there is usually some sort of capital involved, and we're allowed to be a part of that. And that is something that I had to continually train myself, and like learning to, we've talked about this before too, take up space, in all ways, as a large woman, and always being the large kid in the class or the large kid on the team. Physically, mentally. Yes. I'm a large
vocally.
thinker. Yeah. My voice is very loud.
I'm resonating with all these things.
I know. So, and it's okay to take up space, and that your thoughts are valid, your feelings are valid, your body is valid. All of these things are important and critical, and so much happier and healthier and able to grow and connect with each other once we allow ourselves to take up space, because I want other people to come into that space. I want to connect other people. And
the bravery that you have taught me is also about a safety net. If and I think that that's our women, a community of women that we have, here, that I feel really lucky and blessed in, that we certainly hold each other accountable. But there's also this tremendous net of like love and support. And I remember when I was getting ready to start my business, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do it. And Jen was like, just do it.
Right.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Best decision I ever made. So. And
I feel, like that safety net, works in all directions, because, we make mistakes. And I think there's somewhere deep inside of us, we fear making mistakes, but owning them and moving forward is huge.
That's my love letter. Thank you all. I'm really glad I could introduce you to Jen. She's awesome.